Dean Shetty plans to make the soup virus airborne and threatens Cardosa. Cate wants to expose the Dean's plans. Cardosa takes revenge. Shetty wants to join forces with those who want to end soup powers. Sam feels the joy of life as a soup. Polarity gets sick on the air. VP nominee Victoria Neuman tries to find middle ground with Godot and Hugh co-eds, but not before Sam becomes radicalized. Neuman meets Marie and they bond over similar powers. Marie tells her about Shetty's plans. Cate kills Dean Shetty, and Sam feels it's justified. Neuman gets her hands on the virus and kills Cardosa.
Grooming Marie to pretty much kind of do the same thing. So
that begs the question, is that part of Marie's personality? I mean, because she's really bouncing between all of these villains, all of these female villains too, right?
Not bouncing between all the female villains. Little bust down, little runner. Okay.
Let's get started by talking about today's title. Oh yeah.
Ooh, this title, Sick. All right. So in this episode, we see some of what is happening in the woods as far as them testing the suits as if they're lab rats and making them sick. So this episode opens up being very, very gory and disgusting, which is an overarching theme that we see in this show altogether.
Okay, so let's dive deep. Dean Shetty's plans. What are Dean Shetty's plans? Let's start with Brittany.
Okay, so Dean Shetty wants to take the drug and make it airborne and kill all of the suits. All of them, and not leave one alive.
Now, why does she want to do that?
So basically, Homelander, I think it was the episode where Homelander had to save the Homelander, and I forgot what her name was, were trying to save a flight. And instead of saving the flight, they ended up allowing the plane to go down. So that way there's no evidence of what actually happened because they weren't able to save everybody. And when they realized they weren't able to save everybody, he was like, just let everybody die.
You're talking about Maeve, right?
Yeah.
Maeve, yes.
Okay, so that gives us some backstory. So when the plane crashed, it was Homelander and of course Queen Maeve that basically killed Victoria's family.
Yes, her baby and her husband died. Her daughter and her husband died.
Jordan decides that he wants to find information in Dean Shetty's office, and so that's exactly what they do. Chad, what is it that they learned? So they were hiding under the desk,
and they found those files.
Oh, but that was the files that told them what happened on the plane. Yeah, and then they put it together. Yeah, because in the story, that plane went down not because of Homelander. So that was the first time anybody outside of like Vought knew that Homelander actually caused the plane to go down. And then it started making sense to them why she would have this vendetta against all the suits.
Okay, and then Cardosa walks in, and when he walks in, hell yeah, everything that Cardosa does, like
Cardosa needed a dose of his medicine. Okay,
Cardosa left a dose too.
Cardosa came in there full of that, drunk as a skunk, just saying all kind of stuff to no one. Unbeknownst to him that Jordan and Marie are there, getting an earful and an eyeful in Marie's case. He's very, very, very upset with Dean Shetty. And he is talking all kinds of crap. And he is just letting it out that, hey, she wants me to kill everybody, basically. And, right. Not only is he letting it out with his words, but he is helping himself to her. I don't want to say scotch and be wrong, but I'm just going to assume that it's scotch. Helping himself to her liquor, but also adding to the liquor. Okay, we're not going to go there. That was so disgusting, but also funny.
He just put back what he took out. That's all.
That's right. That's it.
Right. So to me, that was like a little bit of comic relief, even though it was like very serious what was happening, because Marie and Jordan are able to overhear what Dean Shetty's plans are, because he is drunk and speaking a very sober tongue about how he feels about Dean Shetty.
Okay. Brittany, Sam has a little bit of fun. What's happening with Sam?
Oh, Sam has all of the fun. Sam has the typical college experience. So he's playing in Emma's room, waiting on her. He hears a scream and he thinks that it's Emma, but it's not Emma. It's this girl that slid on ice. And so they're having a sliding party where they're just getting drunk and just sliding down the hallway using their superpowers. And one of the girls is like, hey, we're super heroes. We can do what we want. Come have fun with us. And here comes Rufus with his drunk ass. I can't stand him. Talking about, come on, let's go to the next party.
Is Emma gonna be there?
Is Emma gonna be there?
Poor idiot.
And here go Rufus. Yeah, she's gonna be there.
Yeah.
And then that's when they bring him to Victoria Neuman's speech.
I just want to know, why is he not wearing a diaper? Like, like his whole...
Why was he playing with her panties with his little weird self?
Oh, that too. Or just the way that her panties were just...
laid out. She's very A personality type, which I would never think.
Yeah. And like, clearly they were all pressed and everything. And
yes. They were starched. Them things were starched pressed.
Yeah.
Had straight, them 2 creases on the side.
She had a late starch.
Hey, he had to on people. So his behaviors are not at all weird to me. It's pretty normal, considering.
Ironing your panties?
No, I'm talking about Sam's behaviors, not Cricket's. Or Emma's, rather.
Oh, when he was playing with the panties? That was normal?
He been away from people forever and being tested like a lab rat. He missed out on a lot.
Yeah.
All right, that was a little weird. That particular thing was a little weird.
I love Sam.
Okay, and so there's going to be a town hall, and in fact, Sam was invited to go to the town hall. They get to the town hall, and Polarity is there. He starts off, and then something happens to Polarity. Chad, explain.
While he's sitting there, starting the town hall, he starts having what looks like seizures. But with his seizures, his power starts spazzing out too. So he's like manipulating all the metal while he's having these seizures, and they get him. This happens on camera, so Andre comes running to him. They load him up in an ambulance, and his seizures are basically wrecking the ambulance and almost killing the paramedic in the back with them. And Andre's trying to fight it off, but I think they basically totaled the ambulance. But they get him to the hospital, but they never really say why that happened. People can have seizures, but for him to just start having seizures, especially like this, to me, it just felt like there was something else that they hadn't showed us that we might get later. But it was an interesting twist on having a medical emergency that he was actually like
sick.
Well, not just that he was sick, but that his powers were going out of control as he's having these seizures.
And how convenient that Victoria Neuman is right there to take the stage. How convenient.
So Elia, are you thinking that she did it? You think
I think she might have something to do with it. I do.
See, I don't think she has anything to do with it, but I think somebody has something to do with it. I don't think it's particularly her, because that's not her style. From what we've seen in The Boys, like we saw her style at the end with Old Boy that we'll get to later. She's very direct in when she does stuff to people, and it only ends one way. So for like, it's like they wanted to make a scene with him, and that doesn't fit like her MO. Like she does her stuff in the shadows. It ends one way. Anything else she does is not that like overt.
So it begs the question: who would have benefited by doing this to Polarity?
I don't know.
I mean, with my first thought, it would be something like it would have been Shetty, but I don't think it benefits Shetty. But the whole, there's like this whole shadow over like this clandestine kind of group thing over all of this kind of stuff, that Shetty might have kept them in the woods on like the sickness part, but they're like over the totality of the woods. It's not quite Vought, but a little bit Vought. So I think it's somebody that's higher than her.
Do you think she poisoned Polarity, and that seizures are just like the first symptom that arises? Hell yeah! What are your thoughts about that?
In true Shetty form, I would not put it past her. I wouldn't, because she's very calculating, so I wouldn't be surprised if she did poison him. That's a really good theory.
It really is. Because she could have did it because there's something going on or she realizes that his son is getting close to knowing what's happening, and she wants to hurt him. So she's like, let me hurt your dad first so you can shut the hell up.
show you that we mean business.
That's right.
Like, dang, Shetty.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So we've been talking about her just a little bit, but I wanted to get some backstory on Victoria Neuman. Chad, could you help us out with that?
Sure. So Victoria, she shows up I can't remember if it's in the second season. I know she's in the third season, but she shows up of The Boys. I'm sorry, yeah, she's of the second or third season of The Boys, and she shows up when she's introduced. You think she's a human, but what you find out is that she is actually a soup herself, and that the head of Vought at the time, who was Giancarlo Esposito's character at the time, he knew her. He was part of her, like, raising her and whatnot, and that this is like an elaborate plan to get her into a seat of power in the government, which she does. She becomes I think she's a senator now, and is like a vice presidential candidate when we meet her here. But since she is a soup, she was like the main secret bad guy. I think it's season 2. She's the head popper. She people that got too close to things, she would set them up, and then their head would just explode. Now we get her here. She's in.
I think that was season 2.
I think it was season 2 because I think she was in all of season 3.
Right.
And now we have her here. She's the vice presidential candidate. They're trying to get her into power, and people still think that she is a human, but she has now let Marie in on the secret that she is a soup. And apparently, like, they never said in The Boys exactly what her power is. I always thought it was like some form of telekinesis, but that they've looped it into what Marie's power is, and it's basically the same thing. I thought that was an interesting kind of turn.
So she is Marie's benefactor that Shetty was talking about.
Right.
Yeah. So when I was like, wow, okay, that makes sense. That's dope. And then I kept watching. I was like, oh, wow, okay.
So Brittany, let's talk about Victoria Neuman. Let's talk about her character, her character's personality. What have you gleaned about her?
So she's conniving. She's very puts herself first. Her self-interest go before anything else. She also, it's very interesting that she sees compassion. Well, she has compassion for Marie. That was something that I did not see coming. She's also had a hard life, and she's trying to teach Marie how to overcome those obstacles, and telling her, this is the type of person you need to be. You need to put yourself first, because you can be the first African-American woman in the 7. But in order to do that, you need to make powerful friends. So basically what I saw was Victoria giving Marie the blueprint of what she did in order to be successful.
Play the game.
She's grooming her. She's absolutely grooming her. So it's just like with Brittany was saying, like, hey, you need to be around these powerful people. At the same time, it's like, she's like, pick a path. Like, what you gonna do? Because you can't do both. To me, Neuman is a villain.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So it's like you're grooming Marie to pretty much kind of do the same thing.
So that begs the question, is that part of Marie's personality? I mean, because she's really bouncing between all of these villains, all of these female villains too, right?
Not bouncing between all the female villains. Little bust down, little runner. Okay.
I don't think it's like her personality per se. I think it's just that those people know her background and are either trying to take advantage of it or relate to it. In Neuman's case, relates to it really well, and thinks that, for Victoria, I think she's like has a kinship with her because their powers are shared and their life is very similar, and that she can steer her this way because because they share that kind of kinship. The other people, I think they know they could prey on where she's from and use that to their advantage. So I don't think and I think because of her personality, I think that's where the conflict comes in, because she's so far has proven to not be like that. And that will be, her thing going forward in dealing with there's only one of them left right now, but dealing with them going forward.
It's like she wants to be a loner. I'm sorry.
Keep going.
It's like she wants to be a loner. She's kind of had to be a loner in a sense. So the minute that someone kind of sort of empathizes with her situation and can kind of sort of relate to her, that's a hook. It's like she has this hard exterior, but just like most people, whether you're a soup or not, you want to belong. You want a sense of community. So that's kind of how Shetty was able to manipulate her in the beginning. And the same thing appears to be happening with Neuman. Even more so, I feel like it's going to be with Neuman, because you're a sister. Like Chad was saying, the kinship. You see me, you get me. You actually have the same power that I have. No one on this earth can understand me more than you, not even the parents, that are deceased now. So if anything, it's almost like Neuman would be a mentor, a mother figure, all of these things wrapped up in one. So it's a very, very dangerous situation for Marie, to me.
And I still say, though, that even though the perspective that these two women, when I say these two women, I'm talking about Dean Shetty and Victoria Neuman, the perspective that they come from, it's from two different perspectives, and yet they end up doing the exact same thing to Marie. right? And it's very interesting that both of them were able to steer her from a course, right? She was about to go in one direction, and then they talk to her, and then she goes in the opposite direction. Cate gets Shetty to share her plans. This is after everyone in the group shows up to Dean Shetty's house, and Cate gets Dean Shetty to share her plans. Oh yeah.
So in this episode, we see Cate has basically just not only I can't say coming to her own, but she's kind of unraveled at this point. So much has happened to Cate. We found out about her background and all of these things. So at this point, I'm kind of confused until everything unfolds. Like, okay, is she falling for Shetty's foolishness, or is she about to let her have it? But we find that she really lets her have it. She unloads on Dean Shetty and ultimately to Dean Shetty's demise. So she uses her powers of compulsion to even not allow Marie to save her. I thought that was really interesting because it's like, okay, Cate, you have done a lot when it comes to your powers, and you have won a lot of things from being manipulated, and some of it, you outright just choose to do, in my opinion. But she tells Marie, which I found really interesting, I'm sorry that you have to relive this, because she's watching Dean Shetty die right in front of her, and even though she's done wrong, she wants the opportunity to save her. So I thought this scene was really, really interesting because it gets into a lot of Marie's struggles and a lot of Cate's struggles all at the same time. So I thought that was really interesting, the way all of that played out. But ultimately, I feel like the dance number Chicago with Dean Shetty, she had it coming. Like, okay, you did too much. You did too much.
Brittany, I see you're laughing. What's going on?
Because she did. I love how Cate came in and was like playing Dean Shetty for once. She made it seem like she was just on what Dean Shetty was saying. She was like, yeah, I love you too. Yeah, but what are we going to do next? And what about me? You're going to kill all of the suits is your plan. But what about me? Oh, I'm going to save you. Really? Really? You going to save me? Okay.
I thought she was falling for it. I really thought she was falling for it.
Me too. I thought she was. And when she called everybody to come over to Dean Shetty's house, I was like, oh, snap. She really fell for Dean Shetty.
And in the next scene, we see basically, so this is after Marie has talked to Neuman. So Neuman has arranged to meet with Cardosa. Cardosa meets with Neuman in a parking garage, and in the parking garage, the two of them have a conversation. Brittany, do you want to talk about the conversation that they had and what ultimately happened?
So basically, I like to call him Carabas. So Dr. Carabas had had the virus with him, and Neuman got the virus from Carabas. And when she got the virus, she was like, "Thank you. Your family's going to be safe. Everything's going to be fine. We're going to put you in witness protection." And then that's when she started to use her. That's when she started to use her superpowers on him, and his head exploded.
Nothing like a good plot twist.
Okay, I was so shocked when she got Carabas.
She is so cold and so raw with it. When that girl gave that man that blank business card, I was screaming, laughing. I was like, oh my gosh, she may be one of my new favorite villains. Like, she gave you nothing. She gave you absolutely nothing. And you were convinced that you had the keys to the city, witness protection, like everything. You are a great American hero. What did she call it? Compassionate control or whatever it was. It's like like Watson tells me all the time, like, you should be in PR. No, really. She is really good. She's good. Like, I love watching her play him. Like, and part of the thing, you're like, oh, Aaron must be drunk.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to get to.
And then the music, okay, off with your heads. Like, heads will roll. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so funny.
So, okay, so she killed him, but I have a question. Do you think she arranged for the death of Cardosa's family as well? I mean, she killed him. Who's to say that, he didn't tell his family what he was about to do? Chad?
I can go either way on that one. Her MO is to kill people that know or are in her way. She'll do this whole little hair popping thing. So it just depends on if she thinks that he actually told them. I mean, from what I saw in the other episodes, I don't think they know anything. So I would think that, him dying would just be enough. But, she might want to be thorough. And she would be thorough enough to pop a kid's head too. So, but I kind of lean towards she kind of just killed him and that's it. Especially because she did a whole bunch of killing in those other episodes of The Boys. So she might want to chill out for a little.
Yeah. All right, so clearly you see we have a whole lot of theories going on. Let us know what you're thinking. Drop them in the comments. Until next time, y'all have a good one.